first play we're going to look at, 2nd and 2, one of the Patriots' first offensive plays.
What's going on, everybody? Mike Kadlick here, Tayler Kyles there, here on Patriots Press Pass, a quick hitter edition of Patriots Daily, reacting to some pressing Patriots news involving a quarterback. It's not Drake May. It is a second-year student of Colorado, though. It is Joe Milton. And according to a report from Mass Live's Mark Daniels and Karen Gregan, the Patriots have received multiple trade inquiries on Joe Milton. This has been sort of brewing over the last couple weeks and months since the end of the season when Milton went in relief of Drake May in their season finale against the Bills, played pretty well. Was a 6th-round pick 2 years ago, or last year rather. And again, like we said, now is garnering some trade interest. Mike Vrabel spoke about Milton a little bit as well the other day, and basically just said that he appreciates what Joe did last season. He worked hard. He made his mark in that last game, and that they're going to see what happens, around the draft and things like that, depending on where they would like to see him go. So, Taylor, would you trade Joe Milton? Is this wise of the Patriots? They have Josh Dobbs in the room now as well. So what's the price you would trade him for? Do you think they should just keep him around? What are your thoughts on Joe Milton potentially being traded out of Foxboro?
I think it makes sense. One, you signed Joshua Dobbs to a 2-year deal, so you figure that Drake May is going to have his backup for at least a year or two. And Joe Milton's a guy who last year when we talked to him during the spring or the summer, he didn't sound like somebody who was going to be happy with just being the backup quarterback. He wants to compete. He was asked if he was thinking of switching to tight end, and it wasn't even something that he entertained for a brief second. And for someone his age and someone who's he's on the older side, I think it makes sense for him to want to go explore and try to earn a job. There's plenty of teams where even if you talk about backups, I think he could probably compete and be better. And with some of the starting quarterbacks in this league, even if they provide some level of stability, I think that Joe Milton gives you the upside of the explosiveness as a runner, as a thrower. He's also very intelligent. We know him in the locker room. He's a fantastic guy to be around, a really great personality. He checks every box you really want as a quarterback. Now, of course, there's the touch, there's the accuracy, there's the playing and rhythm things at the NFL level that are largely still unknowns because even though he did play against the Bills, those are primarily their backups. Now, I don't even know if I necessarily should say this, but I remember at the time a lot of people were insulting him saying it's like the preseason. It wasn't like the preseason because the preseason has players that aren't making NFL rosters, right?
Right.
If they were in there for the Bills, they were still on the active roster. So still, you're going to play different calibers of defense. But if you look at that and say, hey, I see the tools. If I'm an Alex Van Pelt type where I think I can really fix a quarterback and bring the best out of him, then maybe I do take a chance on Joe Milton if the guy I have is a pocket passer who doesn't give me a ton of upside. So I think it makes sense for the Patriots. They already have their future. They have their veteran. They don't need a young guy to develop necessarily. And the way I think of it is with quarterbacks, you should draft one almost every year. Develop that guy, churn him out, and like a Joe Milton situation, use those tools, make him someone that other teams want, and then you flip him for a pick that's better than what you wound up spending on him. So this is just the life cycle of quarterbacks in the NFL. When you've got your guy, makes sense for the Patriots. I would hope they could get a 4th rounder. 5th rounder seems like the most realistic. But I wouldn't be in a rush necessarily to get rid of him. I'd love to see what Josh McDaniels could do if that meant, going through the summer, he gets even better, kind of like what we saw with Alex Van Pelt, and see that progression. And then maybe he has a fire preseason, and then some team is kind of desperate and really, really wants his services. So I wouldn't necessarily say that they should be throwing him out of the door, but I do think that it would be prudent of them to try to get some kind of capital for him as soon as possible, as long as it's something around like a 4th round pick. If it's like a 6th or something, I think you can.
I'm not flipping him. Right. I'm with you on that line of thinking where I'm not just flipping him for what you drafted him with, right? I just don't want a 6 back for Joe Milton because, hey, we got enough out of them. Now, technically the 6th rounder is more valuable than the 6th round a year ago. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. He's someone who showed some promise and could potentially be a really good backup option, God forbid, if anything ever happened to Drake May. But, with Josh Dobbs in the room, with the fact that his value is inflated right now because of that performance he had, and what we know of Joe Milton is a volatile football player, at least on the college level. He had really high highs and really low lows. So if you can sell a guy like that on his high, I think that's good business, again, depending on what you get back. So it sounds like he does want to go and compete somewhere. That was also written in Mark and Karen's report on Joe Milton getting some trade interest. So again, I always say it, but we'll see what happens, and we can only react to what we know. But right now, it is that Joe Milton at least is garnering some trade interest across the league. We'll see if the Patriots act on it ahead of, during, or after this month's draft coming up soon. So as always with Patriots news, we'll keep it here on Patriots Press Pass. Everything that happens, Patriots Daily Quick Hitters, all our pods, all that good stuff are always here. So make sure you keep it here, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. And subscribe wherever you get your podcasts as well. So until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we will see you next time. Peace out, everyone.